Hey guys, welcome to Troy Time. Check it out, today we're going to do something awesome. I'm going to show you how to power larger fans like this one using just a USB battery. Not only are we going to drive it at full speed, but we're going to overdrive it and it's going to be awesome. So here we are, coming up next. Okay, when most people think USB batteries, they think something like this. This fan sucks, okay? It moves nowhere whatsoever. We're gonna use this fan and we're gonna overdrive it. It's gonna move so much air, it's gonna be awesome. It's the best way to use. It's my favorite fan when I'm running USB batteries, okay? In order to do what we wanna do, we're gonna use this cable right here, okay? This is a USB to 12 volt and 9 volt. It's got a selector setting right here. 12 volt and 9 volt. To, I believe this is an 8mm, I'm not sure, 8mm output, okay? This is a great cable to have. You can select 9 volts or 12 volts, okay? That's gonna allow us to run this fan at normal speed or overdrive it. It's also gonna run a lot of other stuff in your house. For instance, I showed another video where we're using AC power. Well, first off, check out some of the other videos if you haven't seen it. Using the USB battery, we're getting 12 volts DC out of this, we're getting AC power out of this, we're underdriving fans, and today we're overdriving fans as well. But just a whole plethora of things you can do with that. But with this cable, with the other AC adapter I was using, it worked on my old cable modem and my old Wi-Fi router, but it didn't work when I got a new Wi-Fi router. The AC adapter puts out what's called a modified sine wave. It's not really that important, but it didn't like the power, so it was picky. Let's just call it stubborn, right? But I can jumper around that using this cable and jumper right around the AC and go right in on the plug, and it runs the new Wi-Fi router just fine, okay? And that's gonna be, so for problem children devices that are in the 9 volt, 12 volt range, this guy can do that, okay? But we're mainly today concerned with what it can do for this fan. So again, this is a USB 9 volt to 12 volt adapter, okay? Oh, I think it's an 8mm plug. It comes with 2 different plugs for 2 different types because you have 2 different voltages, all right? But, so let's see what it can do. I'll leave a link to this down in the description as well. So, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our USB battery, okay? Let me comment about that first. So, this is right on the threshold of what this battery can do. This is gonna pull 10 watts when it's overdriven. So, you need to make sure that you're using at least a 10 milliamp hour battery, and you need to make sure that you're in the high power port. Usually a lot of USB batteries have a low power port and a high power port, so you want to be in the higher power port. Usually it's 2.1 amps or 2.4 amps, but you want to be in that high power port. Okay, so we'll put it in the high power port. This is just my meter. We'll connect it up, right? And since this is right on the threshold of what it can power, we want to make sure that we start off slow. We want to start on low, and then we're going to get it moving. There's something called inrush current, which basically is like inertia, which means when a motor starts, it pulls a lot of power at first, and then once it gets up and running, it takes less power to keep it running. So it's like inertia. They call it inrush current. Basically, it just means that we have to start this thing in low and then jump into high gear into high. Okay. So I'm going to start it here. So this is low with a low setting here and regular 9 volts. This is what it normally would drive on. And this is 3 watts. It's going to pull 3 watts. Okay. At this setting, this battery can run this for 12 hours. It's a nice breeze. Okay. I jump to high, still pushing in 9 volts. On high, this takes 5 watts, which means this USB battery will power it for 7 hours. This is nice breeze. That's a lot of air. Okay. I'll stick a clip on the end of the video showing it with streamers and some of the different settings and things like that. But yeah, so this is how it would normally blow, okay? This is if you're running this with batteries or you're running it with just a normal AC plug, this is how it's gonna blow. It's a lot of air, it's a nice fan. I like this fan a lot. This is the O2cool 10-inch fan. It's one of my favorites, okay? But what's great about it is now we can overdrive it by putting in 12 volts, okay? It's gonna move a ton of air. It's gonna double the output of the air. When we do that, it's gonna be like sitting right in front of a box fan, okay? It's not going to move quite as much air, but if you're sitting right in front of it, man, you can't tell the difference. This is going to blow you away. So we're going to go back to low. I'm going to switch my adapter to 12 volts. Okay? At low with 12 volts, we are pulling 6.5 watts. Okay? So it'll run like this for about 6 hours on a typical USB battery. Okay? Now the big jump. We're going to go high with 12 volts input. Okay, and I had to jump down to 9 and then kick it to 12, just like I talked about. You can hear the difference in the pitch of the motor, probably. It's pushing twice as much air. That's a lot of wind coming out of this thing, especially for a USB battery. Compared to that other little thing, oh my gosh, this is a lot like a 20-inch box fan, okay? And that holds 50 watts, all right? So, it's just, there's a ton of air here. You'll see it when I put the streamers on it on the video later. I'm gonna turn it off so I can talk. Okay, so far we've been showing you a lot of stuff with these USB batteries, but realize by extension, it's also for our guys that are running something like this, which is an entry-level solar generator, okay? And that's the point I wanna make. What I'm teaching you guys to do is how to get the most out of every watt, okay? So when we're in our high overdriven position, this battery here can power it overdriven for 3.5 hours, okay? When we take this down to the lowest setting, this guy can power it underdriven for 48 hours, right? So a lot of selectivity based on this USB battery. But this guy, he if something like this that has basically like 300 watts, he can power this fan overdriven for 30 hours. Okay, it's awesome. So I hope these guys that are having if you're one of the guys that has a little bit bigger system, realize how much this makes these supercharged, okay? That's the whole point. So this guy can power this, and geez, if we underdrive it with this, my gosh, I think it's like 400 hours that he can run it, something like that. So I know a lot of guys that are running a little bit bigger system, they're running like a 20-inch box fan. Well, if you do that, you're gonna get much less runtime. This guy can only run a 20-inch box fan for about 5 hours, okay? But he can run this for about 30, and you can barely tell the difference, okay? So I'm trying to show everyone how to capture the most value for the watts that they have, okay? So hopefully that's transferring, and if you look back, maybe it'll make a little more sense on some of the other things that we're doing where we're underpowering things and getting these results from super low power because we want to extend that runtime, okay? But this, it's blasting that air. This is a great fan, it's one of my favorites. We'll do a summary video on fans coming up where I go through all of them. This is my probably #1 top fan, but other fans are good for certain niches. This one's not real portable, so that's an example. There's a fan I like that's more portable. There's a fan I like if there's 2 people. You know, we'll go over some of that in another video. But yeah, this is a great fan. I hope you guys pick one up. I'll put a link in the description. Hopefully you get an idea of some of these runtimes and what you can do. But yeah, so we're just keep giving you more and more capability. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Coming up still off of our USB battery, we're still gonna be running TV, how to get TV with USB battery, how to run projectors with USB battery, do some heating, do some cooling. We're doing everything down at this low level, and then it just multiplies it by an order of magnitude by the time you switch it into a solar generator like that, okay? So hopefully you're getting some value from these things. I'm getting some great responses. Hook me up, tell me you like it in the comments. It just motivates me to make more videos, and I'm trying to get this stuff out to you. Okay guys, so I want to do a quick summary now on these fans. So this is what I'm trying to say. We can run this 10-inch O2cool, what I'll call a box fan, and it only takes about 8 to 10 watts, okay? It's comparable when we overdrive it to a box fan like this. That's a 20-inch box fan. It's comparable, I just did the test, it's comparable to about that box fan on medium, okay? That box fan, when it's on low, it draws 55 watts, okay? When it's on medium, it draws 67 watts, and when it's on high, it draws 80 watts. AC fans, alternating current fans, are extremely inefficient, okay? DC fans do a much better job. So what I'm proposing is that rather than try and drive a box fan like that, especially if you have one of these beginning entry-level generators like this jack right here, or this bull bat here, those are both great generators. So most people that have those are running a box fan like that, but you're only going to run a box fan like that for 5 hours, okay? You can run this thing, this 10-inch fan, overdriven. It's going to get nearly the same amount of air. It's about the same as the box fan on medium, but instead of the box fan pulling 67 watts, you're only pulling 8 to 10 watts, which means even with the USB battery, you can power that fan overdriven, the 10-inch fan, for 4.5 hours. Okay, and if you've got a entry-level solar generator like this, you can power this fan, this 10-inch box fan, for 32 hours. If you've got 258 watt hours or whatever, 32 hours you could do it. So it's going to be equatable to the bigger box fan on medium, and yet you can do it for 32 hours. It's a way to just really save a lot of wattage. Because I want you to think about it for a minute. Where you really want to capture your efficiency is with your fans. That's where it's really going to make a difference. AC fans are so inefficient. DC fans are so much better. Also realize this, guys. Fans are one of the only things that you're going to run 24 hours a day. If it's hot outside, you want a fan running all day when you're working, and then you want a fan running at night while you're sleeping. So the fan's on 24 hours, okay? So as opposed to like lights are only on when it's dark. So maybe 6 hours, maybe 8 hours, right? As opposed to entertainment things you're not gonna be using all the time. And so what, maybe 5, 6 hours a day? But fans, you're gonna want on for 24 hours. So think about it here, we're capturing what, maybe a 40, maybe a 50? Let's just go for easy math. Let's say we have a 50 watt difference between the 8 and the 57 or whatever it was, 58. Oh, it's actually 67. Yeah, so let's just say it's 50 watts of difference. Across 24 hours, that's 1,200 watts. That's 1.2 kilowatts. I've got a solar system in my backyard that pulls 1.2 kilowatts a day. It cost me $1,000. You can save that much every day just by running this 10-inch fan rather than the 20-inch fan. And if you overdrive this fan, you won't notice much difference. 1.2 kilowatts you can save and you won't notice a difference, okay? The big fan does move a little bit more air, but if the air's not touching you and just blowing off into the room, what's it doing, okay? So you won't notice a difference if you're standing in front of these between the box fan on medium and this guy overdriven, okay? The box fan on high will move a little bit more air. But as far as just keeping you cool, if you're in front of this thing, this fan's going to be plenty for most people, I think you'll find. I think you'll find that this is a great hack. It's going to save you a ton of power that you'll be able to use in other ways. And we've shown it running off the USB battery. We've shown it running off of, well, we'll show it now. So let's just finish up with this. We'll get the streamers going. I'm terrible at making streamers, but just to give you an idea, okay? So here's the cable we talked about. Sorry, I'm all... Okay, guys, remember we always have to start this on 9 volts. We've got to kind of jump start it from 9 to 12. My streamers aren't working that great, but trust me, there's air there. Okay, there's a lot of air there. Then after you got it running on 9 volts, then you can jump to 12. All right, so check out those streamers. They're going crazy. There's a ton of air there. We're powering it out of this USB battery with 12 volts. I promise you that's a lot of air, okay? It's good. So that USB battery can power that on high for about 4.5 hours, on low about 6 hours, which isn't bad. And then if you switch it back down to 9 volts, you get longer run times. And if you switch it all the way down to where it's underdriven, super long run times. We've talked about that. But let's keep on task here. So now let's go with our bull bat, okay? Okay, so here we are running the bull bat. We're only drawing 4 watts, okay? That's a healthy dose of air. That's a nice breeze. If you're standing in front of that, that's really nice. Okay, we're on 9 volts, that's regular power. We're on high power here. Okay, we could switch to low, but let's keep it in high. Now we're gonna jump it into 12. You can just hear the difference. Okay, that wind is kicking. There is a lot of air coming off of that thing. Okay, and we're pulling 8 to 9 watts, okay? Mostly 8. Let's go 8 for easy math. That means that we could, with a USB battery, we can run this like that 4.5 hours. On this bull bat, we're going to run it 32 hours. 32 hours. Okay, that's amazing. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you is this. So here we have the Jackery. Okay, you will occasionally have a device where it's got some protections in place and it won't work. I'm going to show you a workaround real quick, and we can talk about it in another video. So here, the Jackery. When we put it on 9 volts, it's got some safety provisions in it so it won't run. It drops down to 4 volts. The Jackery drops down to 4 volts. It's got some protection circuitry in there that doesn't want to see a big voltage spike all at once, okay? So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not going to hurt anything on the other ones, trust me. But it's just maybe a little bit older. They haven't really adapted to some of the higher power stuff yet. So when I put this in, this time I kind of jump start it. Now it's running at 9, right? But if I try to jump to 12, right back down to 4 volts. So it goes to just low power output when it sees a spike. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to change that, okay? We're gonna use this cable right here. This is a power combiner. I'll talk about it more in another video, but it's 2 male plugs to a female plug, okay? So essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna use both outlets of the Jackery to do this. That way it can handle that power spike. And you might have to do this on some USB batteries. Most of the newer ones you won't. Hopefully, All right, so now we're using, you can tell, we're in both ports of the Jackery into one port here, and that's going into our converter here. So there's 9 volts, and now we can make that jump to 12. And the Jackery can do it. And other USB batteries will be able to do it too. So if you have a newer USB battery, you'll probably be able to do it without that little power combiner. But if you've got an older one, then you might need to have that power combiner too. I just wanted to put that in there just so I covered all my bases. We can talk more about that in another video. But the whole point of this video is just how awesome of a fan this is, how much air it blows, and just remember the savings in wattage that you can get going down from a 20-inch box fan to this 10-inch fan. And if you're anywhere in the vicinity of it close by, you're not going to notice a difference, okay? This is really, really a good hack. So hope you guys appreciate it. Hope you like it. We'll be back with more. And coming up again here soon, I'm going to have a summary of all the fans that I like. I love this fan, probably my #1 fan, but there's about 5 more that I like that are each great in its own little niche. So I want to talk about those next. Again, fans are super important because usually you're going to be using them 24 hours a day. That's why I started with fans. I'm going to do a video on lights. I'm going to do a video on entertainment systems, TVs, heating, cooling. I'm going to try and cover all the bases, okay, of everything that you want to see. And we're going to be doing a ton of it with the USB batteries, okay? We're still going to be using these generators too. I still got plenty of stuff for people running the solar generators. And then all this stuff applies when I'm doing the USB stuff. So hopefully you all realize that, and hopefully you like this stuff. I know I like showing it. So we'll see you soon. This is Troy Time.